One of these days I'll finish restringing my jazz guitar. Probably should, huh? People are asking me to play for Christmas time. It's kind of lazy of me to not have it restrung already. So, anyhow, quick thought for you on what I think is so ingenious about the Constitution. I think that this is the fifth principle and the first principle combined uh, that President Dallin H. Oaks shares, and I know it fits somewhere in President Benson's principles too. But this is it: is that it's a written constitution. Now, prior to that, the founders used to refer to the British Constitution, but it was a constitution of precedent. It was a constitution of people. There were some general agreements. I'm not an expert on it, and I don't need to be, honestly. So they decided to do a written constitution with these broken up functions, bicameral Congress, a Supreme Court with only specific enumerated jurisdictions. And then also, they weren't the only branch of the judicial branch. If you look at Article 3, Section 2, it opens up talking about the judicial power of the United States, not even the Supreme Court. And there's exceptions to their jurisdiction. They did not intend for the Supreme Court to be the final arbiter of the meaning of the Constitution. Hamilton mentioned it briefly, but you got to remember, most of what Hamilton recommended was rejected by the founders, actually. So most of what actually was accepted by the founders came from guys like Madison. And then when John Adams and Jefferson were back and involved in things, they gave us a lot of the philosophy on it. So anyhow, this is the ingeniousness of it. The written Constitution um, is ingenious. And then you have the office holders take an oath to the written Constitution. They don't take an oath to the opinions of any other members of government. Jefferson said that the executive was just as qualified to interpret the Constitution for himself as was the judicial branch, and that nothing in the Constitution changed that, and that nothing does. Madison said the Congress was just as qualified to interpret the Constitution for themselves as was the judicial branch. This was cut and dry. They were reading the document in its purest form. They knew exactly what they were talking about. And so, anyhow, this is why I think it's so ingenious. And I think they were students of history, but they were ahead of the times as far as like the Milgram experiment goes, and the fusion of responsibility experiments go. But this is it. Is the Milgram experiment? You need to study that one. That's the one where Dr. Milgram, he was a Jew from Germany during the World War II period, and he was trying to wonder what would make somebody like follow all these bad orders. So he did this study where he had a fake doctor and then a fake patient on the other side who they were testing that person's ability, cognitive ability, supposedly their ability to answer questions correctly, and he had them hooked up to fake electric wires, and then they had this fake switchboard, and the person they were actually experimenting on was a volunteer that they asked for to come flip switches, according to the doctor, to administer shocks for whenever this student who was getting tested, fake student, right, pretended to get a question wrong. The doctor would say, shock him with this many volts. Now shock him with this many volts. We're experimenting to see if it helps him. And unavoidably, within a short period of time, the fake student would begin saying, I can't take this anymore. I can't take this. You got to disconnect me. You got to stop shocking me. And they would just say, just trust the experts. Just trust the experts. Let the experts be in charge. They know what they're doing, right? The doctor in the lab coat would say that. And what was it? 60% of the people, I don't know, a lot. The majority of the people took it way past when the students, the fake students, said, "Hey, stop shocking me. I'm not good with this anymore." So basically, people deferred to authority way too much just because they thought they were an authority figure. Now, this is what's ingenious about the Constitution, if you ask me. It doesn't call for any one branch to be the authority figure over the others in their oath of office. This is a modern interpretation that we have, and it's a bad interpretation, really bad. You cannot be loyal to the written Constitution and to the Supreme Court's opinion on the Constitution. It's one or the other. Either the one will overpower the other, or the other will overpower the one, right? Well, the wording of the oaths of office is that their oath is to the Constitution. It's not to the Supreme Court. And so this is really bad stuff, if you ask me, because it's tending towards what maybe everybody that low hanging fruit. Everybody picks on the Nazis, and being what I consider myself German American, I kind of hate that, honestly. Um, but it is tending towards something that was common among them. They answered to the authority figures way too much. These supposed authority figures with their lab coats and stuff like that. The responsibility is on you, your agents, unto yourselves, and our founders understood that. So they wrote the Constitution down, came to an agreement, and everybody took their oath to the written Constitution. Now, I think what's going on nowadays, we're answering instead to somebody who's put those lab robes on, the Supreme Court, and saying, please just tell us what the Constitution is. We don't want to read it for ourselves anymore. And shoot, man, the like 99.9% of the stuff that's challenged is unconstitutional. They uphold it, or else they just back out of it and say, go ahead and do your thing. We're not even gonna, what do they call it, political questions, or anyhow, there's a point where the court just says, yeah, we don't even need to hear this. So they're no good. It's not effective. It's not been a winner. The original winner, was the idea of the oath of office and the written Constitution, if you ask me. Now I think we're dealing with, at this point, though, another thing that I really liked learning about in college, which was diffusion of responsibility. Not that I was happy to learn about it, but I felt like I was learning pure truth right there. And so that's when you hear about, like, some girl getting raped on a high school football field during some kind of activity, dance or something like that, and a bunch of kids go off, and the other kids walk by laughing rather than doing anything to stop it. Because surely if somebody's going to stop it, it needs to be somebody else. There's too many other people there. Or in New York, somebody's getting beaten up and killed and stabbed to death, screaming for help, while a bunch of people look on. And every last one of them totally capable of stopping it, and they don't. Because they think, surely there's so many other people here, let one of them do it, right? Nobody is stepping up to the plate except for very few. Ron Paul when he was around, Thomas Massey. There's really hardly anybody that I see that actually knows how to talk about the Constitution. And yeah, so again, I think the founders were ingenious. I don't think we're living up to that ingeniousness. I don't think we've been wise stewards, as President Benson said. I don't think. I think we're living way below our privileges, or our office holders are living way below their privileges, because their oath of office is to the Constitution, the way it's written itself. Who cares if you need a promotion or this or that? From what I understand, the father of somebody close to me was law enforcement and a strict constitutionalist, and he said, yeah, my dad didn't get any promotions because of his views on the Constitution. And he was always stressed out and on Tums. I respect that man for being that odd voice in that police department. So it's really hard. Everybody feels the pressure to just go along, right? And it doesn't pay off well to stand up for it, apparently, right now. It's a big sacrifice. So again, the ingeniousness of the Constitution, though, is nobody's the final arbiter of the meaning of it. It's just not there. Look for it. It's not there. It's not there. Don't look. You won't find the word arbiter, interpreter, the ones who say what the Constitution is. Look up any of those adjectives to that word. It's just not there. But what is there is an oath of office to the text, the written Constitution, not the Constitution of precedent like what they were dealing with under the British. So, and that's my thought. I love the founders. They are awesome.